This right here is the coolest I've ever personally used. This little thing has something that no other camera has built in it. Granted, you can get USB webcams that have the AI software built into it to do the panning and all that. You can even get that within, NVIDIA broadcast as well. But there's something else that's really, really special about this. And because it moves around and it can pan up and down, this USB webcam is able to track you. Now, granted, there's some conspiracy nuts out there that are like, oh God, tracking me. Look, in the sense of if, say, you're giving a presentation, you want to walk around and utilize this, you can do that. If you want to have more of a dynamic stream and be able to have, the ability to move about and it keep track of you and zoom in with like simple hand gestures and stuff like that, you can do it with this. What is this? This is the OBSBOT Mini. This thing right here is so freaking cool. And I'm honored to be one of the few people to be able to review it. So in this video, we're going to do an unboxing setup. I'm going to show you guys how awesome this is and give you like a real world, setting. I'm not going to do, let's say a very glitzy and glammy type of video where it looks really pre-produced. I'm going to do a video where I'm literally sitting at my couch, the camera's focusing on me, I'm moving about, and it's going to go from there. But before we do all that, make sure you sub to the channel, ding the notification bell, that way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. And also, if you really want to support what we do, we got Teespring, we got TeePublic. Those are the merch shops where you can get some cool tees like the Aloha Built and so much more. And if you want to support further, we do have Patreon as well as channel memberships, Subscribe Star, and Coffee. Links for everything is down below. And all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this amazing device, the OBSBOT. This thing is so cool. Let's get into it. Okay, we got the OBSBOT Tiny here, or OBSBOT. This is a camera that actually tracks you and uses hand gestures as well. I've seen some demonstrations of that, and this is pretty neat. It's about a $200 at the time of this recording USB camera that you can utilize, and it allows you to do quite a lot. It's got the AI tracking, gesture control, it's 1080p. It's got 2-axis gimbal, which you can see, this is the gimbal right here. And yeah, it's USB-C powered, which is great. And we're going to just go ahead and get into the box, test it out, and see what all you get with it here. And then this is the camera that you get. This is it. Check that out. It's pretty dope. It's got a lot of lint, but this is actually from the packaging, so don't mind that. Very lightweight. Let's see. Type-C input on the back. Also, it utilizes a DC input, so 5 volt. And then it's got the screw-on mount here. And there are 2 microphones. There's a microphone here, and a microphone here. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get that connected after we check and see what else is in the box. Go ahead and get that out, get this out, and you will get 2 pieces of information. So this is the user manual. Walks you through everything, multiple languages. And it also has software too. And this right here uses warranty information. Usual books and stuff. Let's plug and file. So let's see what we get here. Opening this up. Let's see. This should have the mount. And on top of the mount, it should have the cable. So the cable, this is a USB Type-C cable right here, Type-C, and it just plugs into the back like so. And there we go. And I believe this right here is what reads. This lets you know like the different things. So it'll change colors if it's recognizing you and your gestures. Let's check also here, because here we have the mount. Oh, interesting. So let's check out the mount. So the mount here is magnetic. So I can clip this on my monitor or anywhere, grab this, magnetically connect it, and I'm all set and ready to go. I like this. I really like that. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and set this up, start using it. I'll tell you guys about the quality. You'll see all the different feature sets and more. And then we'll just go from there. Okay, so what I wanted to do here was showcase the software that comes with the OBSBOT Tiny. And it's really literally one thing. It's this thing you're seeing here. And then you'll see the system settings over here. This is literally what you'll see, which gives you access to different things. Now, if we're over here, you know, this is your go-to general everything for the OBSBOT. It's literally this. Once you connect it, you run your software update. This allows you to do quite a number of things. You can reset it. You can move it around. You can lock it in place if you want to lock it, or you can tap to unlock it so that it'll go back to following you wherever you are. If you want to say locking, you want to manually control it, you can just grab this right here and just drag it, which allows you to move it around. I'm going to do a panoramic of my room, the living room that I'm in. And let's say I stop here. So you see I got my, you know, I have cats, and I got a laptop sitting over there. Got a fan. Move this on up. See? And so that's where that pivot stops. And what I can do is I can spin it on back around if I wanted to. And it just keeps going. So now you can see my workout area, my daughter's seat. You can see where, you know, my shoes are. And if I wanted, I could zoom in. So you can see that. And I like how when you zoom in with this camera, there's not a lot of that pixelation noise. So it's still relatively clear, especially since this camera is not a 4K camera. This camera is effectively a 1920 by 1080. So it's a full HD camera, and it's not even 30 frames per second. And typically I am the type who thinks that 30 frames per second for most things is not great. You know, typically with the cameras, I want it to be about 60 frames per second. But in this case, I kind of feel like it does its job by being 30 frames per second. It actually works for this. And I think with future revisions and updates, future models of this camera are going to have 60 frames per second. Now, if we go over here, we look at the system settings. There's a bunch of different functionality you get here. If you look to this side of me, and you'll see you've got your software. It lets you know what your software version you're currently running. If there's a firmware update, you know, it'll notify you about your firmware update. You can put the device in sleep mode for those of you who are concerned about it tracking. You know, there's the paranoid group of people. You can put it in sleep. Honestly, if you're paranoid about this thing, why would you buy it in the first place? You can turn on gesture control lock target or gesture control zoom, which is based on, you know, you doing that right there to zoom in, and also again to zoom out, or however you want to do it. I got that mixed up. And there's also, you know, you can change the different tracking mode from standard mode. You can change it over to headroom, which will just basically follow your head. You can do motion mode, which just moves around a lot quicker than any of the other modes. It's kind of like it's got that real life effect to it. You also have the ability to configure your video. So if you want to configure your video settings, you can, you know, kind of typical thing. If you were to configure this in OBS or in, you know, literally any camera software, or any type of like streaming software like XSplit or OBS or anything like that. It's the same type of settings. You can set your anti-flicker to off, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, really can, depends upon you. You can set a preset position that you want this to be in when you turn it on. You can also turn on initial boost position if you want to do that as well. You can set global hotkeys if you want to configure that. You can remote controller, which there's a specific remote control you can buy with this. There's also an app, but the app at the time doesn't work with the Tiny. It works with the other OBSBOT, so that's something else that could be worked on. And then you can change your language, and there's more. So if you want to export the logs or upgrade or do firmware upgrade or just restore it to factory settings. These are different things that you can do with this device. So the thing about this that I absolutely love is the fact that this gimbal just follows. It's a 2-axis gimbal, right? So it tracks me wherever I go. So if I were to go over here, which is the limit to where it's going to turn, then I can just stand here, I can talk, you can see the little flashing light and everything that's going to pop in the background, but it just does what it needs to do, and I can talk. And then if I want to walk around, so one of the things that I do, as I'm rambling so much about myself, is I do speak at the universities out in Hawaii. So I speak at the University of Hawaii, Chaminade University, Hawaii Pacific University, Brigham Young University. I speak to the students who are interested in taking content creating as a career. And one of the things I like to do, I could do with this, is if I'm doing an online speaking arrangement, if I got my notes, I can actually just have this up, walk around with it. I can check off my notes, write down different things, and just, do what I need to do and be able to talk and not feel like I'm restricted to just having to sit down and be static. I can be up, I can be vibrant, I can be energetic. And this thing allows me to do all that just by having this AI built into it. So many cameras are trying to do this in the sense of integrating this type of technology where it can use AI tracking, and that's great, but no one else is utilizing it to this extent where, it can just do that with gestures. Nothing is using gestures. Everything is using software that's buggy. This is all baked into it, and it just works perfectly fine. All right, so we're going to do the audio test so that you can hear what the OBSBOT Tiny sounds like with the 2 microphones on it. There are no additional settings that you can do to tweak how the audio sounds. This is how it sounds 24/7. There's no tweaking. There's nothing you can do additional to this. I mean, you could probably use NVIDIA Broadcast to, if you have a noisy environment, if you want to filter out sounds and whatnot. But I'd say it sounds serviceable. It's manageable. It's the kind of the typical webcam type of audio quality. It's not as bad as some other webcams out there, but this is definitely a better quality. But yeah, it's got two microphones on it on the left and right side, and they work in unison. There's really not a whole lot to talk about here. It's a webcam, microphone. There's not really a whole lot to say, but I think for meetings and whatnot, it gets the job done. And that's it. That's the video for the OBSBOT. This thing is so freaking cool. So much potential with this. I really am thinking about so many different ways I could utilize this, not only for Skype and Zoom calls, but also for like my live streams and, more of a dynamic setting. I was thinking of like, man, I could have it where like I'm playing a horror game. What if I'm playing a horror game and I'm using VR, and every time I move around, it moves with me. That way I don't have to stay in a static position when I'm playing, like, say, Resident Evil 7 in VR. Or what if I'm just playing a horror game in general? I'm just thinking, I'm thinking of horror games just because we're so close to October. But there's so much that could be done with this, and the technology is so amazing. If you want to pick one of these up, I have a link down below so you can go and get it. Yeah, I'm out of words to say. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is cool? Is this something you could see being utilized in your setup? Whatever your thoughts are, let's go ahead and get the conversation going in the comment section below. If you want to take it further, we got Discord, we got Gilded. Links for those are in the description below as well. If you want to support what we do, we also have Teespring and TeePublic, where we got merch such as the Aloha Built and so much more. You can go pick those up. And we've got channel memberships, Patreon, Subscribe Star, and Coffee if you want to support the work that we do. All that being said, I'm signing out. I'm Mikhail Kasanova, Hawaii content creator. Hope you're having a great rest of your day and an aloha rest of your day. Deuces well, too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate your support by those of you who like the videos, who watch them, who subscribe. And for those of you who are my Patreon supporters, thank you for your continued support because you help make this possible. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support what we do have Patreon on patreon.com/MikhailCasanova. We also have Coffee as well as Subscribe Star. So there's various methods if you want to support the work that we do here. We also have channel membership, so make sure you check that out. That way you get up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes here and first, and exclusive content as well. And if you enjoy the work that I do and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I'm Mikhail Kasanova, Hawaii content creator. I hope to see you on the next one. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. And all that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.